Good morning again, and welcome back. I hope you had a restful weekend. And I'm gonna make this video as short and as sweet as possible, so that you can get straight to the work. Thank you for all of you that are turning in your work. Amazing stuff. I really appreciate it. So we're working on lesson 6 today, using headers and footers. We are going to be creating this spreadsheet that lists Amazon's top selling video games. This is not a list that is current. As you can see, Just Dance 2016 is at number 7. Obviously, this came out a few years ago. If you want to go into Amazon and actually find their list of top selling games, I tried to do that. It was kind of difficult to do. So if you want to do that, you can do that and say what platform they're on. That's up to you. But you need to have the top 10. Otherwise, just type in the information as you see it here. What we're going to be working with today is how to deal with headers and the page margins. So one of the things that I haven't been able to get you to do is actually print out your spreadsheets. And often these spreadsheets need to be printed out. You all are pretty familiar with my gradebook spreadsheet. This has to be printed out. I have to customize this because it's actually a very large sheet. It's hard to fit perfectly onto one piece of paper. So there's a lot of little tweaks I have to do to get it to fit. One of the things I have to do is figure out what the page area is. Another thing I can set is the margins. I have very narrow margins here. That's the page margins. That's how much gap there is between the information and the edge of the page. So I have these as very narrow margins. I'm going to show you how to change your margins in Google Sheets. And then there's grid lines that I can turn on. I can actually print those. That will print out the grid lines. I actually have mine printed out in a different way, and you can print out headings and so forth. So I'm going to show you how to do a bunch of this stuff. Orientation isn't a big one. You either have portrait or landscape orientation. In this case, we would want this to be a portrait because it's a sheet that I hold sideways. So I'm going to show you how to do that stuff in Google Sheet very quickly, like I said. So I'm going to pause the video so that I can go ahead and type in the information from the spreadsheet, and then we can get to the formatting. Okay, great. So I typed in all of my data, and now I need to go ahead and format it. The first thing that's not in the instructions, but it is in the rubric, anytime that you have data that blurs into or is cut off from the cells, you need to make sure that your columns are correctly sized. So always make sure that that's true. That's always in the rubric, but it's not always on the instructions. All right. We've already done this part. Now, here's the tricky part. So a lot of pages have something called headers and footers, and that's basically little bits of information that are at the top of the page or at the bottom of the page that are on every page. And so I'm going to show you how to insert that in Google Sheets. We go to print. And this is what everything is going to look like if we were to print it out right now. We can explore some of these options. We can go to normal, see what that would look like, fit to width. We can explore paper size and all that stuff. Notice that it is set automatically to landscape. Portrait looks like this. We want it to be at landscape. Okay, and then we're going to add, we're at step 6 here. We're going to add page headers. So we're going to go to headers, and we're going to edit custom fields. Okay, and these are headers that will exist on the worksheet. And if this sheet had multiple pages, it would exist on all of the pages. So we're going to put in the left section your name. Middle section, Amazon. And you could actually, which is kind of cool, you can just choose the workbook title. If you've named your workbook Amazon, it'll create a little field there. And whatever your workbook title happens to be, it'll always be that. So I'm going to actually do that because I've already named mine Amazon. And then if you look up here, these actually give you little stamps that are, I guess, like data, what we call like metadata from the file. So like I said, you have the title, you could have the page number. And what here we're going to have is we're going to choose a date format. And it'll always conform to whatever date it is. So let's do, I don't know, I like this one. That's fine. Okay. And that is in the right section, current date. All right, now 7, insert page footer that shows the page number centered. So we're going to go down here. This is the footer. We're going to choose this little icon here is page number. And we have several options here, page 1, da, 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 da. Let's do that one. And confirm. And that's how our sheet's going to look when we print it out, which is pretty cool. All right, let's take a look at the next steps. Adjust the page margins as follows. So we've done the headers and footers. We're going to go ahead and close that. Okay, and now we're going to look at the margins. We're going to change this from normal to custom numbers. And this shows us where the edges of the pages are going to be. So at the very top, we're going to put 2.5. Okay, and that brings it so that the graph is kind of centered. At the bottom, we're going to be 0.75. We're going to go ahead and leave that alone. Left is going to be 2.5. Okay, and then right is going to be 1.5. All right. Okay, so at this point, we're basically finished. I'm just, going to go through the list here, set the sheet and printer grid lines, and show row and column headings. So you can't really do the second part of this, which is show row and column headings. You can't really do that in Google Sheets, but what you can do in formatting is show grid lines. And see, if I turn that off, you can see that the grid lines are no longer there. Okay, that's what that looks like. So don't worry about showing the row and column headings, but make sure that the showing grid lines is checked, and you'll know that it is if it looks like this, which it probably will be by default. There is not a lot more to do here. The thing you can do, I guess, is go to next. And it'll show you the preview of what would print out. Obviously, I'm not looking for you to print anything out. I was thinking about having you print a PDF and send that to me, but that just seemed a little too complicated. So just as long as this is formatted and I can see that this is formatted when you turn it into me, it should be fine. So you don't have to print it out as anything. And that's about it. Hopefully this wasn't too tedious for you.